Last week, Afghanistan inaugurated a new president, Dr. Ashraf Ghani. This was the first democratic transition of power in Afghanistan's history, and it should have been a huge success for Afghanistan and for the international coalition. Instead, the elections plunged the country into a political crisis that emboldened the Taliban, highlighted ethnic divides, and weakened the economy. So what happened? The first and second rounds of the election were held in April and June of this year, with Dr. Abdullah Abdullah winning the first round of the election and Dr. Ghani coming from behind to win the second round of the election. The problem was with the runoff election, which was marked by fraud so prevalent that the UN led an audit of all 8.1 million votes cast, eventually throwing out about 1 million votes. Throughout the audit process, both candidates refused to compromise and sometimes threatened to walk away from the process. The issue was over what constituted fraud. Dr. Ghani wanted a conservative approach that made sure that the vote of each Afghan who had risked his lives to cast that vote was counted. Dr. Abdullah wanted a more aggressive approach that made sure that the result was legitimate and stamped out all fraud. Dr. Abdullah's side, in particular, repeatedly threatened to walk away from the process and form a parallel government. This could have plunged the country into a civil war and negated the progress made over the last 13 years. Some of Dr. Abdullah's most powerful supporters command well-armed militias. Instead, under pressure from the United States, the two agreed to form a national unity government and created the position of Chief Executive Officer. Dr. Abdullah is now filling that role, which is expected to be somewhat similar to that of Prime Minister. So what does this mean for Australia? Well, first, it means that the campaign in Afghanistan is moving forward. On his first day in office, the Ghani administration signed the U.S. Bilateral Security Agreement and the NATO Status of Forces Agreement. These agreements will allow foreign troops to remain in the country beyond December of this year. Without this agreement, we would have been forced to pull out of Afghanistan, much like we did in Iraq in 2011. Instead, the combat mission is ending, but the U.S. and international partners will remain to train, advise, and assist the Afghan National Security Forces, and the U.S. will continue to conduct counterterrorism missions. The goal is to reduce to a normal embassy presence by the end of 2016. This means that Australia can finalize its plans. It has previously offered to support this new mission through training and embedded advisory support. It has also expressed an interest in a special forces component that would either contribute to training or counterterrorism. Australia currently has about 400 service members in Afghanistan and has previously suggested that 100 to 400 service members could remain for this new mission. Tony Abbott stated in 2013 that Australia's longest war is ending, and its combat mission is, but the Australian military probably isn't coming home just yet.